Hello from Spoiled Vision Movie Recaps. Today, we delve into a Japanese drama film titled Survival Family. Warning: spoilers ahead. Proceed with caution. The Suzuki clan, residing in Tokyo's suburban realm, consists of 4 members. The story commences within their modest apartment, with patriarch Yoshiyuki Suzuki engrossed in television. Simultaneously, his son Kenji and daughter Yui are engrossed in their smartphones. Evidently, the Suzuki family relies heavily on technology for entertainment, seldom engaging in quality time with each other. The next morning, Yoshiyuki wakes up late, startled to discover his malfunctioning alarm clock. He seeks the time from his wife, Mitsu, only to learn that none of the clocks function. Mitsu reveals the cause: a widespread power outage that has rendered all electrical devices inert. Yu awakens to the distressing realization that the air conditioning and television have also ceased to function. Yoshiyuki's attempt to contact the electricity company meets with failure as the telephone lines are down. Rushing to prepare for work and school, father and children venture outside. At the elevator, they encounter a crowd of bewildered neighbors, learning that the outage has disabled the lift as well. In response, the entire floor descends the stairs, perplexed by the abrupt disruption. Late for work, Yoshiyuki hurries to the train station, only to encounter another mass of commuters. The power outage has immobilized the trains indefinitely. Commuters attempting to opt for buses also find themselves thwarted, as all electric and fuel-powered systems have ceased to function. Meanwhile, Kenji embarks on his bicycle for school, navigating a city bereft of its usual vehicular hustle and bustle. Envious onlookers eye his mode of transportation, even though it's just a child's bicycle. Yoshiyuki finally arrives at his workplace, but the automated entrance doors remain sealed. Curiously, their timepieces have also ceased to function, leaving them in temporal ambiguity. After some contemplation, 2 colleagues resort to breaking the glass doors to access the office. Their elation quickly turns to disappointment when they realize the office computers have run out of power too. Concurrently, Mitsu rendezvous with her friends outside their apartment, sparking discussions about the power outage. The group decides to venture to the store to procure candles for the impending night. Mitsu, albeit perplexed, follows suit, believing that power will be restored by nightfall. Inside the grocery store, people scramble to stockpile food, water, and essential provisions. Mitsu joins the queue for payment, only for a surprise announcement from the cashier. Only cash payments will be accepted due to the non-functioning machines. This prompts some patrons to abandon the line to withdraw cash from ATMs, only to discover that the ATMs are also inoperative. Yoshiyuki's workplace, during this peculiar power outage, becomes a hub of uncertainty as employees grapple with the unusual situation. Their boss, recognizing the futility of work without computers, sends them home for the day. On his way back, Yoshiyuki makes a stop at a bicycle shop, even though the prices have surged due to the outage. Nevertheless, he purchases one. As night falls, the Suzuki family embraces the ambient glow of candlelight while sharing a peaceful dinner. However, their tranquility is disrupted when Kenji discovers that the toilet won't flush and the taps have ceased running. Yu is perplexed since a power outage shouldn't affect the water supply. Post-dinner, the children, deprived of their phones and internet, initially return to their room, but quickly grow bored. The family assembles on the balcony, gazing at the starlit sky. The darkened city enhances the brilliance of the stars, offering the family a rare opportunity to bond. 3 days into the power outage, their apartment begins to show signs of wear and tear. Dirty dishes accumulate due to water scarcity, and soiled laundry adorns the living space. The absence of electricity has precipitated a rapid transformation in people's lifestyles. At Yoshiyuki's office, his senior advises everyone to stay away from work until power is restored. Yoshiyuki protests, citing financial concerns, but his senior urges him to prioritize his family's well-being. He emphasizes the challenges of sustaining life in Tokyo amidst these conditions, where resources like food and water will soon run dry. Outside the office, Yoshiyuki witnesses his senior departing with his family for the countryside. While grappling with the situation, Mitsu attempts to fetch water from a nearby tank, but, along with others, is turned away as the tank too runs dry. In the meantime, Yoshiyuki's attempt to withdraw money from the bank is thwarted by a surging crowd. A week into the power outage, grocery stores have been stripped of supplies, offices and schools have closed, and factories remain idle. More people are fleeing to the countryside, prompting the Suzuki family to make a similar decision. The following day, they packed their belongings and set off early in the morning on their bicycles. The children ride independently, while Yoshiyuki carries Mitsu on the back of his bicycle. They must purchase drinking water along the way, but the shops demand exorbitant prices. Mitsu's bargaining skills secure them a relatively reasonable price. They pause at a resting spot for the day before continuing their journey. Finally, they reach the airport, where they plan to board a flight to Kagoshima, Mitsu's hometown, where her father resides. Their hopes of catching a flight are dashed when they arrive at the airport and encounter a disgruntled crowd berating the officials. Flights have recently been cancelled and won't resume until the power is restored. With no other options, the family finds refuge in a nearby hotel. The opportunistic hotel owner capitalizes on their predicament, imposing exorbitant charges. Despite this exploitation, the family refrains from complaint. Late at night, Yu suggests returning home, but Yoshiyuki insists that there's no sustenance or water left in Tokyo, rendering survival impossible. Their only choice is to pedal their way to Kagoshima. The next day, Kenji and Yu visit a bookstore to secure a map for navigation. Meanwhile, their parents barter 2 bottles of Yoshiyuki's alcohol for a bicycle and provisions. The family recommences their journey and, after a few hours, reaches a highway where fellow travelers, also seeking refuge in the countryside, accompany them. At nightfall, they stop at a camp and decide to share it with their fellow travelers. When a couple requests water, the family pretends it's their last bottle, sharing their food but keeping the water. The next day, they press on and encounter a dark tunnel filled with lifeless bodies. Kindly elderly women help them cross. 16 days into the power outage, by a river, their last bottle of water is depleted. Yoshiyuki resorts to drinking directly from the river as they have no alternative. After leaving the riverside, a fierce storm forces them to abandon their bicycles and belongings, seeking shelter nearby. Once the storm subsides, they return to find one of their tires ruined, along with their clothing and provisions. Upon reaching a nearby town, the children score for sustenance and water, while Yoshiyuki and Mitsu rest. They discover an empty grocery store, and Kenji searches for a bicycle tire, but finds none. Yu obtains distilled water, which they reluctantly consume, along with cat food, their newfound source of sustenance. Though initially disgusted, they compromise for the sake of survival. Kenji ingeniously repairs the tire using his phone's cover, and their journey continues. For a week, they subsist on distilled water and cat food before crossing paths with a group of campers on the 22nd day. These campers educate them about edible roadside plants, sharing knowledge and even capturing the family's image with a non-digital camera, promising to send it once the power is restored. They travel together briefly before parting ways. On the 43rd day of their arduous journey, the Suzuki family arrives at an aquarium where people catch and consume fish. Eagerly, they join the queue, their own food supply dwindling. Unfortunately, by the time they reach the front, everything has been sold. Yoshiyuki implores the fish vendor to spare some for the children, but his pleas fall on deaf ears. Disheartened, the family continues on, growing weary due to the scarcity of sustenance and water. One day, in a field, their desperation drives Yoshiyuki to consider eating an insect. Just then, they spot a pig nearby. Catching the pig fills them with joy, yet they hesitate to slaughter it, even in their dire hunger. A stranger named Tanaka approaches, offering to take care of the pig and inviting the family to his farm. At Tanaka's home, they are treated to a hearty meal, which they devour ravenously after days of deprivation. They stay with Tanaka for a week, but eventually decide to resume their journey towards the village. 3 days later, they find themselves by a river. It becomes apparent that the map they've been following is outdated, and they must now cross the river to reach their destination. Using makeshift rafts crafted from pieces of wood, they successfully ferry Mitsu and Yu to the opposite bank. Yoshiyuki and Kenji return for the bicycles. However, a sudden downpour raises the water level, sweeping Yoshiyuki away despite Kenji's efforts to save him. All they find in the water is Yoshiyuki's wig. The family sits by the river, grieving his loss before eventually continuing their journey on foot. Surviving on the provisions they stocked up at Tanaka's, they persist until the 94th day. While walking along a railway track, Mitsu is attacked by dogs, causing her to tumble off the road and break her leg. The children rush to rescue her, only to face another canine assault. Suddenly, the sound of a steam train approaching startles them. To their astonishment, the train halts on the tracks, offering them salvation. The functional steam train, powered by coal, comes to their rescue. Kind-hearted passengers on board tend to Mitsu's injuries and offer assistance to the family. Meanwhile, Yoshiyuki's body is found washed up by the river, but miraculously, he regains consciousness and finds himself near a nearby truck. As his family's steam train passes by, Yoshiyuki employs a smoke torch to capture their attention. The train comes to a halt, reuniting the family in a heartwarming moment. It transports them to their intended destination, Kagoshima. There, they reunite with Mitsu's father, and they begin to build a new life together. In the subsequent scene, we fast forward 2 years and 126 days after the power outage. The Suzuki family now resides in the picturesque village of Kagoshima. They lead a contented existence, engaging in activities such as fishing and crafting their own clothing. One morning, Yoshiyuki is awakened by the ringing of an alarm clock, signaling the return of power. The entire village springs to life as light bulbs illuminate, and phones resume ringing. The astonishment is widespread, yet the exact cause of the power's return remains a mystery. Weeks later, the family returns to their previous life in Tokyo. According to the news, the prolonged 2.5-year outage was attributed to a solar flare from the sun. Speculation regarding the involvement of a terrorist organization abounds, but no definitive reason has been established. The film concludes as the family receives a picture taken by a stranger during their travels. The power outage taught people to cherish the small pleasures in life that were once taken for granted. The Suzuki family, who had grown distant from each other, became closer than ever due to the hardships they endured. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification for more movie recaps.